Well, hello, it's Denise. And before we jump in today, I want to let you in on the big celebration. We are celebrating the release of my brand new book, Embrace Your Power and Go. I am so excited to have this book come to life. And even more, I'm excited to share it with you. You see, you're connected to me, so I want you to have the inside scoop. I've decided to do an author's release of the book for those that are connected to me to get the book first. And in addition to that, I have 2 bonuses that are going to come along with you purchasing your book directly from me during this author's release. The first is this: I will autograph your book for you. I am so excited about that. And the second is I am going to do a live interactive meet and greet so that we can talk about the book once it reaches your hands. The author's release, those purchases can take place until the end of February, so don't miss out. Make your purchase today. You can learn more about the author release on my website at www.denisetaylor.live. The book is extremely affordable, but it will change the game for you. This 30-day journey will take you through a daily process of truly getting out of the starting blocks and moving fast and furious to the things that you want to accomplish. You see, I say it all the time that God did not give us a spirit of fear, but He gave us power. And with that power, we can be, do, have, and achieve anything we want. I put pen to paper so that you had the tools, that you had the resources, and you had everything to change the game for you. So this book is for those who have been stalled out, feeling stuck, needing motivation, inspiration, and guidance to truly bringing their visions to life. You don't want to delay. Get a copy of the book today and get one for your friend. Make sure you include them on your journey. Visit my website at www.denisetaylor.live to get your author release copy. The books will go out at the end of February, so don't miss your opportunity to grab a copy and really embrace your power. Well, you know, I am always excited to have you join me each and every week right here on Life, Love, and the Pursuit of Happiness. Now, whether you're listening to me on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watching on YouTube, I am so glad you are here. Now, for the last few weeks, I have been celebrating my new book, Embrace Your Power and Go. It's something I say all the time, but I really wanted to put pen to paper to help us get past ready and set and truly go. I want you to embrace your power and go. And when I say that, this is what I mean. God did not give us a spirit of fear. He gave us power. And I am a firm believer that with that power, we can be, do, have, and achieve anything that we want. We have been unpacking all of the success superpowers. They're the things I love to talk about, and I feature them in my book, Embrace Your Power and Go. We've talked about seeing yourself successful, envisioning yourself being successful, doing, being, having, and achieving whatever your heart's desire is. And once you get it crystallized in your mind, then you have the entire picture that you are in hot pursuit of. The second is to shake off fear. Now, that can be a little difficult, and honestly, that is where we begin to shrink. But when you get the practices in place to shake off fear, you will truly become unstoppable in each of your pursuits. The third is do the work. Pretty simple, but it's the thing that we show up least consistent for. We have got to show up doing the work that is going to help us be successful. Number 4 is take care of you. And this is where we need to make sure we are investing in every aspect of who we are. Now, today we have reached the 5th superpower, and we're going to spend time unpacking everything it means to hold fast to your faith. Now, hold fast to your faith. It's not the last success superpower because it's least important. In fact, it is the most important superpower. The Bible has so many promises for us, but they all must be received by faith. So when I say faith, what exactly is faith? Hebrews 11:1 gives us that. It gives us the fact that faith is all about confidence in what you hope for, which means it's a principle that we can begin to unleash in our life. Confidence in what we hope for. We must be confident and assured. That is faith. Now, faith is easy when things align. We don't really have to rely on it. We don't see it activated. We don't see it happening as much as when we are tied to it closely in the days of contradiction. When the things get hard, that's when faith is tested. And that is when it has to show up and be valued and show for the power that it brings as a source in your life. One of the things that transformed for me is when I was able to establish my relationship with God. When I found the necessity to really have a power source that made a difference in my life, that is when I was able to be consistent. I was able to be steadfast, and I was able to be assured of what promises I could bring to pass in my own life. We understand the necessity for faith when we know the promise, we know what we believe, and we know we've worked hard, yet things aren't coming together as planned. That's when faith is necessary. And that is why we must have faith in order to bring success to pass, because you're going to face some opposition. It's going to get hard. Now, faith is what you lock in on when you feel disconnected and it seems your goals are distant. It's that assurity, that confidence in that vision you see for yourself that makes the difference when it gets hard. You know, faith means that we have the ability to have right expectations of certain things. And I really love the way that Apostle Ivy Hilliard, who is one of the greatest faith teachers I have ever experienced, explains it. He says that we have 5 justifiable expectations of God. And as I look at myself activating faith in my own life, I have found knowing that I can have these expectations have completely made a difference. The first expectation is we can expect God to give us a plan of action. So we are not without direction. We just need to go to the source where the direction needs to come from. We flail because we're trying to do it within ourselves, or we're asking people who had no involvement in being able to give us that God vision. And so our right expectation of faith is that God is going to give us a plan of action. So we've got to go back to the one who has given us the vision. The second expectation that he talks about is the expectation of the wisdom of God. Man, that is a game changer. God will help you navigate that thing. He will impart wisdom to you that tells you when to make the shifts, when to make the moves. But you've got to be connected to him as your source, and you've got to be willing to be obedient to his guiding. You got to hold fast to your faith. We can expect the favor of God. Favor is God raising up someone to use their power and ability and influence to help us. So if I can expect that, I can expect the right kind of partnerships to come into place. I can expect the right kind of mentors to show up for me. I can expect the right kind of opportunities and doors to be open simply because I am holding fast to my faith. Number 4 is we can expect a miracle from God. We can expect the supernatural to occur. God is still in the miracle working business, and he performs miracle at his will as he chooses. The 5th expectation, as Apostle Hilliard has shared, is the one that makes the difference in it all. We can expect strength to endure until change comes. Now, what I love about these success superpowers is when they come together, you can apply them to any area of your life. But the one that is the single most game changer in your ability to manifest success powerfully as a result of embracing your power is truly holding fast to your faith. Now, I wanted to bring someone to the table to help unpack this from their own experience. So I've asked Marsha to join us and give us insight into how holding fast to her faith has made a difference in her life. So first of all, Marsha, I want to welcome you to Life, Love, in the Pursuit of Happiness. Do me a favor and introduce yourself to everyone listening.
Well, thank you, Denise. I'm Marsha Haywood. I want to start by saying I am the wife of Lyle Haywood, an amazing and incredible, supportive husband. I'm the mother of 4 children, the oldest being a set of twin boys who just graduated from college. Also, I have another son who is a junior in college, and I have a daughter who is a junior in high school. So my quiver is full and I love it. For the past 10 years or so, I had previously worked in human resources and most recently as a account manager for a major company here in the United States.
Mhm.
I love to volunteer, particularly in my church. I love to serve in our community as well. And I'm just so happy and honored that you asked me to be a part of this, Denise. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And so, as I was thinking of each of the success superpowers and I got to faith, that's where your face just came to mind. Obviously, we have a background of being on the same prayer team. And so I've obviously seen your faith life manifested in how you serve. But even more than that, you had your own journeys where you had to hold fast to your faith. And so if you don't mind, tell me about an experience where you had to indeed do that, cling to your faith and allow that to be a power source for you.
Yeah, Denise, last year, there was a situation that arose in my job. My boss, who had been my manager for about 2 years, she had to go back to her home country. She was an expatriate or an expat. Her native country was Germany. And so for personal reasons, she had to go back. And she was really like a mentor to me. But what ended up happening is leadership decided to give me all of her responsibilities. In addition, I already had my own responsibilities. And so at first I was really nervous. All kind of things played in my head. Can I do this? Oh my God. I admit, I thought about leaving. If she's leaving, I'm leaving. I don't want to do this. But then I really, felt really strongly that this was an opportunity for me to grow professionally and just to really learn and implement the things that she had taught me. So I decided to stay. So when that happened, I asked my director, who I started reporting to, hey, can I get a salary increase because of this? And he told me, well, no, we just gave you promotion. And because of that, just consider this as development. And so I thought to myself, I'm just going to hang tight.
Mhm.
Fast forward 9 months later, I'm still doing my old manager's responsibilities. I was at home and I told my husband, I said, this is getting to be a little bit too much. They're not paying me what's fair. But I had my one-on-one, weekly one-on-one with my manager, and I asked him, I said, hey, not only did I ask him, but I took the job description from my senior manager who had left, went back to her home country. I took her job description with me into that meeting, and I showed my director, who I now reported to. I said, I want to show you something. This is what I am doing. I'm doing all of these things. And you know what he did? His response was to slam his hand on his desk. And he said, I told you, we're not paying you anymore. This was an opportunity for you to grow and da da da. And I said to myself, I said, okay. So then back up, I came home 2 weeks later. I was upstairs on a Sunday night working on some headcount forecasting reports and budgets. This was some of the new responsibilities that I inherited. And I said to myself, why am I doing this? I believe it was the Lord that said too, you don't have to take this. I came downstairs, Denise, and I looked my husband in the eye and I said to him, babe, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't feel like I'm being paid what I'm worth, and I want to resign from this position. Denise, I didn't have any other job lined up. My husband told me, I support you. If this is what you want to do, then you do it. And then he apologized to me. He said, I want to apologize to you because I feel like I put you in a position where you felt like you had to stay in this job to help with the bills and whatnot. So that's not your responsibility. I want to take that burden off of you. So if you want to quit, you go on your work tomorrow and you resign. Denise, I didn't have a job lined up. I didn't have anything. I submitted my letter of resignation without having a backup plan. And of course, being an HR professional, one of the things you never do is you never quit a job without having something planned. But then I realized, with God, some things just are logical. We want to sometimes do things that make us comfortable or feel right. But that is an example of how I had to hold fast to my faith. I had to trust God. I quit my job, Denise. And so that's an example or an experience that I had to hold fast to my faith.
First of all, I want to say, come through, Lyle. Okay. I love his response to you in that moment, because you really were at a state of vulnerability where you needed him to be your husband. You needed to find safety in him. You needed to find security in him, and he came through. So I am so glad that God prepared his heart and gave him courage in that moment. Secondarily, I think one of the things that makes it uneasy is when we find ourselves doing something for a period of time that we know within us is not right? Yeah. Your spirit is not settled. You don't find a sense of peace with it. And it sounds like you have wrestled with that for a long time. So when you think about that experience of walking in with no job, dealing with the potential change in life that would mean to you guys as a family. You had children in college, children in high school, you've got all the responsibilities, all the things going on. When you think about your faith and now on the other side of it, how did it change your life to truly hold fast to your faith?
Denise, one of the things and one of the main reasons why I even felt remotely comfortable with submitting my letter of resignation without having a job is because I knew God. I had an intimate relationship with him and I knew his word. I prayed. And also too, one of the things that I noticed in your book, you say something profound: expectation. I had an expectation and I had a history with God that I knew that he was going to come through for me. I specifically asked God when I resigned, I said, God, you are faithful. And I know that you are a God of justice. You would never, ever let me be put to shame. You have provided for this family for every situation you've come through. And so it was in that moment where I remember the expectation. I expected God to come through because he's faithful, because he's never lied to me, because he's never, ever let me down. I expected him to surround me with favor as a shield because he said he would. And one thing I specifically prayed about when I submitted that letter of resignation, I said, God, I pray that you would provide me with a position before I leave this company. That I submitted my 2 weeks notice, Denise. And so within 2 weeks, the very last day that I was at the company, I had a final interview. It was a six interview process that I had. The very last interview I had was the executive vice president over this position that I had applied for. On the call, it was a Zoom interview. On the call, he hired me on the spot.
Wow.
He didn't even get back to his director, who I report to now. He didn't even have a panel meeting with everyone else who interviewed me. He right there on the spot decided. And so I was floored.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is, Denise, is that in this whole process and in leading up to me resigning, one of the things I realized about myself is that I was allowing my previous company to plunder my talents and my gifts.
Mm-hmm.
I was staying in a position where I wasn't being valued. I was being valued, but it was used to their advantage. And I realized that's not God's will for my life. That's not what God says. And I need to take my peace back. So in me leaving that company, Denise, I took my peace back.
Mm-hmm.
I took it back because Jesus is the Prince of Peace, because he died for my peace. And for me to stay in a position where I know it was contrary to what I believed as a Christian, I knew it was time to go, even if I didn't have a backup plan. And of course, I don't recommend everybody just quits their job, but I had enough trust in God that I knew that he would come through for me. And he did exceedingly. When I tell you he did exceedingly abundantly above all we could ever ask or think, Denise, he allowed me to get a position where I'm working 100% remote. In the offer, it included bonuses, and I was given stock, company stock. And it's not about the money. Let's get that straight. It's not about the money, but it's knowing your worth. It's about knowing your worth as a Christian, but also too, it's about knowing your worth as an employee. And so just walking in faith and believing what God said about me and knowing who I am. If God says that I'm his child and I'm accepted and beloved and that I'm more than a conqueror, why would I allow myself to be in a position where I'm not being treated the way that God said I should be treated? And so that's one of the things that moved me about faith, is having that conviction and that assurance and that confidence and expectation, which makes up faith, and knowing that God was going to come through. And he really did, Denise.
Oh man, that is incredible, girl. You really moving me, because when I think about faith, it's not so much that it's magic. It's the courage and the confidence to do the hard things. Stretching yourself beyond where you are with aspirations of where you want to be, deserve to be, have blessing from God and assurance in his promises that is for you, requires you to have hope, confidence, and belief in his word. And when you can have that, it becomes a power source for you to tap into so that you can face the hard moments, make the difficult decisions, and show up strong, knowing that you are on a foundation of truth, which is the word of God. And so I appreciate you sharing your testimony. I think it will be a tremendous encouragement to so many other people who may find themselves in similar situations. And so I appreciate your transparency. I want to thank Marsha for her incredible testimony. When we look at how God has orchestrated the entire scenario that she shared, we see how she was given those 5 justifiable expectations I talked about before. God indeed gave her a plan of action. He revealed to her the steps that she needed to take. He revealed to her the hard thing that needed to be done. He gave her specific guidance as to what steps to take when. God also gave her wisdom. She was able to connect with her husband, forge the partnership around the plan, and they were able to move forward together, connected. She was able to navigate how to get to the point of not only resigning from the position, but also getting to the point where she could move into a new position with the promise of her ask of God to do it within a few weeks. We can also see the favor of God. It was so impactful when she said her husband rose up and apologized for the pressure that was put on. That unleashed her. What she also shared with me is that she was able to make connection with someone who then pointed her in the direction of the opportunity that presented her with getting a job offer on the spot. She was standing in expectation of a miracle. Anytime you walk away from your position with the uncertainty of exactly how things are going to come together, you're expecting for God to move. And then finally, I think you could sense in her voice that she had tapped into the strength to endure. And that was a very incredible experience. You see, I've discovered the power of holding fast to my faith and standing in full expectation of God to show up to help me is truly what it means to be in faith. We can't get weary in pursuing God's will for us. Anything worth having is absolutely worth your pursuit. It's worth your diligence and it's worth your passion. So don't give up in the face of opposition. It's just a sign that success is near. Stay focused on your goals. Stay focused on believing what is possible for you. You see, the world needs your deposit, and there are people waiting for you to show up strong. So never confuse delay with denial. Never confuse that objective that he has given you needs to be diluted in any way. Stay the course. Your decision to pursue what is possible for you, it may be challenged, but it's not a mistake. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Success is imminent. All right, so I wanted to bring Marsha back to help us close out this episode on holding fast to your faith. And I always close out every episode tapping into wisdom with the infamous LLH questions, life, love, and happiness. So Marsha, tell us, what would you tell your younger self about life if you could?
Well, I'm trying to cry when I think about it. When you ask me that question, what would I tell my younger self about life? I've often asked myself that question. Growing up with a mother who's a single parent of 5 children, life was not easy. It wasn't glamorous. I would tell my younger self that it's going to be okay, that life is going to be fine. I would tell my younger self to hold on to God. I became a Christian at the age of 17, and Denise, that transformed my life. And of course, at 17, you're still growing, you're still learning. In your walk as a person, as a woman, you're still growing. But I would tell my younger self that every challenge and every pain and every obstacle that you endured throughout your life is going to make you a better woman. It's going to make you a better wife. It's going to make you a better friend. It's going to make you a better colleague. So everything that God allowed was to build your character. Mm-hmm. And you're going to make it. You can endure it. I would tell my younger self that you're so much stronger than what you think. So you hold your head up high and don't you forget that you were created in my image. And because of that, you will always overcome. You will always be victorious. You will always be triumphant. Even if leading up to that victory, it doesn't feel like it. In the end, Marsha, you will always win. And that's what I would tell my younger self.
That is so beautiful. Thank you. I honor your transparency because I know what it's like to grow up in difficult circumstances that you bury and try to figure out how to persevere against. And I am so glad that you found God because he is so enriching, regardless of what you face, to redeem our lives. That is powerful. So thank you. What would you tell your younger self about love if you could?
Denise, I would tell my younger self that the love that you receive from God will allow you to love people. The degree to which you receive God's love for you, even when you mess up, even when you miss the mark, when you're able to receive God's love, it's going to allow you to forgive yourself. It's going to allow you to forgive others. And out of the abundance of the love that I receive from God, it overflows, and it allows me to love people sometimes who are unlovable. It allows me to give people who sometimes do the unforgivable, Denise. And I would tell myself to allow the love of God to transform you. That's what I would tell my younger self.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful because it's powerful enough to do it. That's the main thing. Is God's love is truly powerful enough to do it. And when you experience that transformation in yourself, nobody know your story like your story, like you do,
Absolutely.
right? That you know how you felt before and you know how you feel now. And you know the only thing between before and now is God, right? And that he was able to transform it. That's beautiful. And then finally, what would you tell your younger self about happiness if you could?
You know, I would tell myself, my younger self, that happiness is not found in just having material wealth or money or a savings account, Denise. I would tell my younger self that happiness comes from serving, from giving. You know, I've learned throughout my life that the more that I give, Denise, whether it be of my time or my money or my energy or whatever it is that I have, that's where I am the most happiest. That's where I'm the most joyous, is when I'm giving and sharing for someone. So I tell my younger self, don't be on the lookout, or don't be anxious to have material things, but serve. And when you serve, Denise, and when you give, it just always comes back to you. It does. And I would tell my younger self, don't hoard your talents. Don't hoard what you have. Give it, and God will return it back to you 100-fold. And that's what I would tell my younger self.
That's beautiful. That nugget right there is the game-changing principle in someone's life truly being renewed. If you can tap into giving, then you will unleash a bank of blessings that will begin to flow in your life in such a powerful way. And so that's beautiful. Thank you so much. You know, Marsha, I want to just say I appreciate you. And I thank you for your transparency. I thank you for your testimony. And as always, success looks so good on you.
Thank you, Denise.
So I just want to close out again with my personal invitation for you truly to embrace your power. Making resources available is something that I am most committed to in 2022. I want to see us truly put things in motion to build a life that we love. I want us to remove excuses and become more determined to truly be, do, have, and achieve. That is one of the reasons why I am so excited to have put pen to paper and written this book. You see, Embrace Your Power and Go is truly going to be the lifeline to the one who is ready to experience the life that they deserve. And here's the thing, I believe that you deserve to live a life you love. You have to build that life. And that means choices around commitment, consistency, and confidence. But once you nail that you really want what you really want, resources like this book is going to help you make forward movement. I want you to achieve. I want you to excel. It's the reason why I took time to to write a book about it. So be a part of the author's release. Get your copy, and even more, make plans to be a part of that meet and greet, because I am going to be on fire to accelerate you to where it is you need to be. We are going to achieve this year. We're going to hit our goals, and the resources that are in place for you to do so are ones that you need to take advantage of. So make sure you're a part of the author's release. It's my signature release of this book, and I am so excited. Thanks for tuning in.